Hey everyone, it's Lynnea, and I am creating a Christmas card with LDRS Creative products today. So every month LDRS Creative has like a features weekend, and that's where everybody on the design team will use recently released products, and we all create projects based on a theme. So this month's theme is winter or Christmas. So I'm going to be using one of my favorite stamps from the recent release. This is the Pine Tree Forest stamp. This is a pretty simple stamp, but it's absolutely one of my favorites. And if you saw last month when we created either fall or Halloween cards, I used this line of trees for a fall card. So I thought I would use it again for a winter card. So I'm going to line that up using my Misty, and I'm going to stamp this with LDRS Creative Watermark Emboss ink. I will stamp this, I think I stamped it 2 or 3 times, just to make sure, because this is a solid image. These trees are silhouette images, so I wanted to make sure that I really had a lot of ink on there. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some LDRS Creative white embossing powder, and I'll heat set that with my heat tool. I'm going to be doing some masking and ink blending, so I'll use purple tape, and I'm going to mask off the bottom portion of my card, right where that tree line is. So I apologize my head gets in the way, but I wanted to make sure that first of all I got this purple tape right below that tree line, and then second that I actually got this straight across. So I used the grid mat and the lines on my grid mat to make sure that that was straight. Then I'm going to give this purple tape a good press right along the line where I'm going to be ink blending. This new formula of purple tape is pressure activated, so you want to give it a press to make sure it's going to stay. And then you're going to see here as I ink blend, I have no problems with that tape staying in place. I have 4 colors of LDRS Creative Hybrid ink. I have Bali Blue, Dark Wash Jeans, Plum Crazy, and then I'm going to use a little bit of Raven ink right at the top to really darken my image. So you can see here I'm using blending brushes, and I don't know the meaning of light hand when it comes to ink blending or stamping for that matter. I go in hard and heavy right from the get-go. I really want to have a lot of saturated color here. Very, very extremely rarely do I have light and airy ink blended backgrounds. I like a lot of color. So I'm going in hard and heavy, and I am really overlapping these colors to make sure that they blend well. And then here at the very end, at the very, very top, and kind of on the sides there, I'm going to come in with just a little bit of Raven. So this black ink is very dark. So that's why you see me there. I have more ink, I think, on my grid mat than I actually got on my card, because I really only wanted a little bit to just darken that up. Then I'm going to put a little bit of elbow grease into my cloth there, and just wipe off the ink off those trees. And there you can see I have like a little silhouette line. So then I moved my tape up, and I masked off the sky portion, and I used the Raven Hybrid ink to blend onto the bottom. Now, in the beginning, I had this little stamp here. This is Winnie, and it's the Snowdrifts Winnie, Polka Doodle Snowdrifts Winnie. I didn't end up using her. I thought she was a little bit too big for my scene, but I will use her in a video tomorrow, so come back for that. Instead, I switched her out, and I'm going to be using the City Sidewalk stamps as well as the City Streets stamps. So this little car is from the City Streets. I just love this little car, and I absolutely recommend getting the dies for this stamp set, because the dies will cut out the inside of the car. So where the windshield is, it's going to cut out. And then there's a second car in the stamp set, and it has, it'll cut out the windows. It's like a side view of the car, so it'll cut out the windows so you can peek through. It's really fun, and I'm going to use that feature in today's card. You can see there I have like a little mom and a little girl from the City Sidewalks stamp set, and I only stamped their heads and their bodies. That's because that's all I need. I'm actually going to be tucking them into this car, so I didn't need to stamp their whole bodies. Okay, so I went ahead and colored that car. I used some blues. So for the car I used B00 and B01. For the bumper I used B02 and B01. Used some yellows for the headlights, some cool grays just to kind of fill in the remainder of the car. And then I'm going to color the mom and the girl. I'll use some white areas and some gray areas, and then also some purple just to kind of tie everything together in the background. So my Copic coloring is really quite simple. I usually just use 2 markers for each color. So I start with my dark, and then I blend out with my lighter marker, like you're going to see here for the hair. I use YR27 and YR23. It's my favorite kind of caramel brown for hair. I'm going to just add some shadows with my dark marker and then blend it out with my light marker. It's really easy. It works for me. There's a lot of ways to color with markers, so find a way that works for you and just do that. So here we go. Here's the dies. So I'm going to, like you can see here, line up the city streets die with that little car, and then I'll cut this out, and it's going to cut out everything. So it'll cut out the outline of the car, but then it'll also cut out the inside of the windshield there. I'm sorry things are kind of fuzzy right now. I took the A2 stitched layered card toppers die set. It's a mouthful. And I used the smallest die in that set to cut out my little scene, just because I thought it was a little bit too big. I had too much black on the bottom. I white heat embossed a sentiment from the City Sidewalks stamp set. And now I'm going back to that die set, the A2 stitched layered card toppers die set, and I'm going to use the second largest and cut out a piece of pattern paper, actually from the Lovebirds 6x6 pattern paper set. I love how you can see the stitched detail going all the way around these rectangles, and then I have the mom and the daughter tucked into that car, and you can see that white heat embossed and ink blended in a little scene in the background. So that's my card for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come back tomorrow for another LDRS card. Bye! Thank you again very much for watching this video. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button that is on the screen now. And here are a few other videos that I thought you might enjoy.